Hello everyone, this is Laura from Astropositive, and I'm here once more because April is knocking at our door and we should look together at the astrological picture for the month to come. There will be a full moon, there will be a new moon, and also lots of interesting planetary movements, so let's get into it. First, perhaps a little look back is in order. You remember the previous new moon that occurred on the 19th of March. That new moon was conjunct Saturn and Neptune, even though out of sign, and that also at the midpoint of Uranus and Juno. So here is the chart. This basically opened the doors to an improvement of an existing commitment, or perhaps the creation of a new one, and this was done by embracing an ending, accepting that the situation must change, and saying yes to new responsibilities. In short, there was some movement in relationships after addressing a difficult issue. Actually, how did Sun conjunct Saturn manifest for you? That happened on the 25th, and I for one spent the day shoveling the compost, a very Saturnian activity. Okay, now back to our current full moon happening on the 2nd of April at 12 degrees Libra. Actually, it's on the axis of Libra-Aries. It's happening square to Jupiter, quincunx to Mercury, and its ruler Venus is square Juno. While actually Saturn is sextiling Pluto and Juno is conjunct Pluto. So we've been through this crucial moment of reassessment when the Sun crossed Neptune and Saturn. That happened between the 21st and the 25th of March, roughly. So the Sun and Moon have now crossed the barrier of Neptune-Saturn, have overcome the bittersweet echoes of the past with Neptune, and also the temporary delays and obstacles with Saturn, and can now unashamedly manifest their thirst for new experiences with Jupiter. Now we feel like we waited enough, we had enough patience, it's time to live life to the fullest, give a relief to all these emotions that are boiling under the surface. Jupiter is in Cancer, so it's full of vibrant emotions under a protective shell, as usually the case with Cancer. So the moon in Libra is directing these emotions towards our interpersonal relationships. The square to Jupiter, of course, is a hard aspect, so this time we may want, expect, and ask too much of our partner. So to look at it in detail. So this new moon occurs in the Libra-Aries polarity, as I said. It's me versus you, or actually me versus us. The Sun in Aries is impatient to forge ahead with his projects, regardless of the needs of others. While the moon in Libra is actually reminding him that first he needs to establish good diplomatic relations with others, and first and foremost with his partner. Put like this, it would seem that this is more a conflict of wills, because how can the individual act on his wishes while keeping peace with his significant others and tending to his or her needs as well? But with Jupiter, there is an additional emotional dimension added that involves family values. Jupiter here may act as a safekeeper of family traditions. We know that all full moon triggers sort of a crisis or culmination of some sort, and this time there may be a relationship crisis or culmination that is spurred on by the need for security or a conflict with traditional values with Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter, as we know, means expansion, so hard aspects to Jupiter push us to overdo things, overshoot the mark, overextend ourselves. We're aiming for always bigger and better. And there are no other more cautious aspects this time to keep our enthusiasm in check. So on the individual level, this might feel quite enjoyable, as a rush of dopamine would. We feel quite excited for what's to come. But on the world level, on the other hand, this might lead to a diplomatic crisis, as everyone is scrambling to get the best part of the cake. All in all, after the austere, low-beat, low-energy days of Sun conjunct Neptune and Saturn, now it's an ebullient time that is full of desire and immoderate wishes. And as Jupiter represents justice, it can also be a good time to bring a matter into court for a decision to be made. At the time of the full moon, Venus, its ruler, because the full moon happens in Libra, is exactly squaring Juno, suggesting discordant feelings and expectations in committed relationships. There is lots of love there, but this is hard to channel towards a stable relationship. We might ask too much of our partner. No matter how many proofs of love we get, it may never be enough. We might feel confused with respect to our true feelings, and indiscretions or overindulgence might threaten commitment. Also, Juno is almost exactly conjunct Pluto. So our closest relationships and partnerships are undergoing a profound change. Something is really muddying the waters here. For those of us who are already bound by some sort of contract, the terms of this agreement have to be reviewed. Stable relationships might not remain so stable at this time, because temptation might be popping up, or some kind of pressure from without with Pluto. Perhaps simply a need from both partners to force a change, probably for more independence, because Juno is in Aquarius. If a new relationship is forming, it will go quite deep, because this won't be any passing crush, but potentially a life-altering decision. We also have the background transit of Saturn sextile Pluto. That is lasting quite a long time, and this is a stabilizing influence that bestows a kind of serenity in the knowledge that we have enough means at our disposal to achieve what we want, and that we have the situation well in hand. There are challenges, but we know that we can face them with a strong sense of purpose overall. The chart of the new moon this time, that is happening on April 17th, shows the new moon at 27 degrees of Aries and conjunct Chiron. Other aspects concern the stellium in Aries, of Neptune, Mercury, Mars and Saturn, all sextile Pluto, and they are there in Aries in addition to Chiron, Sun and Moon. So the sign of Aries is overpopulated, full to the brim with tense influences. Aries is always the pioneer, is like the fool in the tarot deck. The primal life force, the hero who starts on his journey with no look back. There is a sort of innocence to it, to this sign. No ulterior motives, just the pure energy of the start. Aries can also be the knight in shining armor, the brave who goes on an endless quest, because the point here in Aries is not reaching a goal, but actually the quest in itself. Likewise, we feel this intense, irresistible energy propelling us forward. This puts us at some risk, of course, because the balance is heavily tipped in favor of daredevil Aries. So please remember to look before you jump, think before you act. Fortune favors the bold, as we know, but not necessarily the hot-headed. So, the new beginning described by this new moon is particularly drastic and volatile in Aries. What's more, with the new moon's ruler, Mars, also in Aries, and under the joint forces of 7 different celestial bodies. On the world stage, for one, we can expect ruthless military action and probably destruction on a large scale. This spells war, no question. On the individual level, it is a very challenging time when it will be hard to keep the peace in our environment. I don't usually mention the newly discovered bodies, planets, because of their slow movement, but this new moon and Chiron are both exactly conjoined Aries. Aries is at 25 degrees of Aries, and actually was for a long time because of its very slow movement. It will actually hover around this degree till 2031. So Aries transits are extremely slow. We don't usually mention them, but other planets can trigger it when aligning with Aries, as is the case right now. So, for those of you who don't know, so in mythology, Aries is Mars' sister, okay? And she is the goddess of conflict. She was the one who is famous for having started the Trojan War by throwing the apple of discord and stirring up trouble, between goddesses on one side and Helen of Troy on the other. Okay, so while a decent dose of competition and emulation is actually a good thing with Aries, now we can expect to see full-blown conflict that would hurt both parties because Chiron is there. For the time being, the aggression is mostly verbal because Mercury is conjunct Mars and Saturn, but soon enough, Mercury and then Mars then Saturn will reach Aries and Chiron, and things will go downhill from there. These transits will happen in the beginning of May, so let's not anticipate, but this is a thing to keep in mind. Of course, Mars is having a 2-year cycle, so it is meeting Aries every 2 years, roughly, but this time Aries is supercharged with this new moon and Chiron, so I'm not looking forward to what this can represent on a global scale. But there is little you and I can do about it. What we can and should do is to do our utmost to avoid conflict in our lives. We can choose every time the wisdom of Chiron over the malevolence of Aries and try to solve our problems in a peaceful and fair manner. Chiron here stands for our vulnerability. This new moon, with its brutal push forward, will trample underfoot a good many sensitive souls. No doubt we will feel triggered, but this new moon is asking us to be genuine and admit to our weaknesses and failures, and only then we will become true heroes. In fact, this new moon's conjunction to Chiron offers us an opportunity to heal specific wounds, perhaps, related to self-assertion, because Aries, as the first sign of the zodiac, ruled by Mars, is especially self-assertive. This sign is moved by this primal energy, as I said, to take the first step, to be number one, to put itself out there, to go on a conquest. But Chiron there is the wound that holds it back. This new moon will expose precisely what holds us back from fully expressing ourselves. It will illuminate exactly what barriers we have erected, to protect us from taking chances. I think this time is perfect to take that leap of faith, to take the lead, no matter how little prepared you think you are. And the day to be particularly wary of is the 20th of April, which is 3 days after the new moon, when the triple conjunction of Mercury, Mars, and Saturn will occur, alongside the Juno and Pluto conjunction. The Sun will simultaneously slide into Taurus the very same day, on the 20th. So the two malefics together, Mars and Saturn, are never good news. Mars' thirst for action is blocked by Saturn, who would rather slow down even in Aries. And this time Mars is stronger because it is in its own sign. So the final effect is more of one of distorted action with unhappy results, rather than simply blocked action. Mercury in the mix suggests communication might go awry, heated up by Mars and blocked by Saturn on the other hand. So the message will have trouble coming across and will appear too harsh and provoking, even if we didn't mean it to sound that way. This can escalate into a conflict that can be detrimental to our committed relationships because Juno is conjunct Pluto, as I said. On another plane, Mercury, Mars, Saturn can mean accidents, of course, transport accidents, travel accidents, or delays. So extra caution is needed when traveling. So quite a heavily charged new moon there that can light up a fuse and ignite a wildfire. It's up to us to handle this volatile situation wisely and use the energy to launch perhaps an important project, for instance, rather than having it all out with someone. Neptune, Mercury, Mars, and Saturn are all sextiling Pluto. So here lies hidden power if only we channel it correctly. The scope of our words and actions will be larger and larger than we thought, and for good or for bad, we will be effective. So be careful how you word your claims, and especially on the 20th. That is a really tricky day, as I said. This month there will be lots of planets changing signs, in keeping with this action-oriented mood, so it is like a total and sudden change of scenery. Mars is going into Aries on the 9th. Mercury is leaving Pisces for Aries on the 15th. The Sun is moving from Aries to Taurus on the 20th. Venus is leaving Pisces for Gemini on the 24th. And finally, Uranus is moving from Taurus to Gemini in the 26th. So, Aries is at its peak between the 15th and the 20th, when most of the planets will be there, when we will feel most of the heat, and most of the action will take place, likely. The passage of Uranus in Gemini is a major event, of course, because Uranus is a slow-moving planet and is changing signs every 7 years. So it really leaves an imprint on the times we are living in. Wherever it goes, Uranus is bringing shocks, sudden shocks that turn a situation upside down and that compel us to change. In Taurus, it was mostly the discovery of earthly limits, limited resources. Now in Gemini, it will be about information, data storage, information traffic. AI comes to mind, of course, also social media, and of course our contemporary dilemma of distinguishing between fake and true information. With Uranus in such a quick-moving, fluid sector, things promise to be quite a little topsy-turvy. Technology will advance at a fast rate, for sure, and we will have trouble keeping abreast of the changes. And controlling the information will be key to power. Mars is going from Pisces to Aries, as I said, so this is the god of war putting on his armor and brandishing his sword. In Pisces, Mars had more devious ways. It acted undercover. Now it doesn't bother to find excuses anymore for its bloodthirsty actions, so on the world scale we can expect open armed conflict and a take no prisoner policy. Well, the first few days in Aries, Mars will align with Neptune, and this may prolong a state of confusion somewhat, so we might ask ourselves, why are we even at war? And after that, Mars collides with Saturn, and this spells destruction, but also not much progress in terms of who is winning the battle. This might only embitter the two adversaries, and the conflict will escalate probably when Mars is reaching Aries, as I said, eventually exposing weaknesses in both parties, with Mars conjunct Chiron. But the conjunction to Aries and Chiron will occur in May, so we will talk about it later. On the individual level, this Aries Mars is a significant force to contend with, and we should all take advantage of his power to get things to move in our desired direction. As I said, the aspects that Mars is forming are not to the best effect, because it's the conjunction to Neptune, to Saturn, and to Chiron. But still, Mars is in its sign, and more determined than ever to have its way. Mercury in Aries gives a lot more impact to what we see, to what we say, to our words. We won't bother with niceties, but say straight what we have to say. We have a saying in Romania that a barking dog doesn't bite. I don't know if there is an equivalent in English, but this time the dog will both bark and bite because Mercury is falling into step with Mars, so lots of punch and no fluff. The Sun going, well, it's still in Taurus till the 20th of April, so this will slow things a bit and give us a break to relax, perhaps. Now and then. We should think not only to go, but also to rest and take care of our bodies. It's also a good time to consider what we have earned from this warring spree. Did it do us any good? So the Sun in Taurus is practical-minded and knows where his interest lies. And it will probably put a stop to Aries' frenetic action if it doesn't serve a good purpose. Venus is going from the leisurely, sensual Taurus to the high-strung, mobile, and hard-to-pin-down Gemini. We will become chatty, flirty, curious about other people. We will toy with the idea of romance. And seduction will happen mainly through words. The very day when Venus enters Gemini, she meets up with Uranus there, and she feels all excited. It is like a small revolution, because we feel freed from the ties of the past and ready to embrace the new and exciting prospects ahead of us. Having fun is just what the doctors ordered, so why stay stuck in one, choice when there are so many? So the mood at the end of April is favoring the new and untried over the traditional and the stable. Overall, as you can see, April is not a month for the faint of heart. The sheer intensity of all this energy that's mobilized, crying out for an outlet, a cause, all the excitement of the fresh new start, even though it means grappling with obstacles, with Saturn, and possibly taking a tumble of two with Chiron, Aries can take a fall and rise back as many times as needed. After all, we are on a new path, ever since this conjunction of Saturn and Neptune happened. It's a path never trodden before, and a few false steps are to be expected. Aries has it in itself to push through no matter what. We should be careful, nevertheless, not to misjudge our striking power, if I may say, and overreact or overdo things in anger, because anger is the very bad advisor, and it is Aries' major, weakness. So the message this month is keep your anger in check and save your energy to do great things. So now, let's see, sign by sign, how we will all spend our month of April. Just before I start, I'm just telling you that I also do videos for each period of 2 weeks between the new and the full moon, and vice versa. And there I'm taking a close look at each aspect that is happening every day. So you might want to also watch these videos. And if you like this channel, if you appreciate this content, please do like and subscribe. This will help me a lot. Okay, so now for Aries. So first, happy birthday, fellow Aries. Aries is the star sign of the month because with no less than 7 celestial bodies, 8 counting Aries, it is by far the most inhabited sign and the one that leaves the deepest mark on this month of April. So how do Aries natives feel under all these spotlights? Well, they feel under pressure. One must say it's not the nicest and easier going of planets that are visiting, so Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, not to mention Aries, that I described just before, are all intent on making our lives difficult. And I say our because I'm a sun in Aries myself. First, the ruler Mars is going from Pisces to Aries, its own sign. After the 9th it is, that is. So Aries' mood will likewise shift from sweet, sensitive, emotional Pisces to energetic, driven, tireless Aries. Okay, so Mars in Pisces, it was in Aries' 12th house, of course. So it was lurking in the shadows, preparing to jump. This waiting period probably took its toll on Aries and wrecked the nerves of many because waiting doesn't come naturally to this sign. Mars is aggressive, but the aggression in Pisces was more internal, presenting as stress, perhaps. But now Mars is going into Aries. This is bound to be good for Aries people, because it makes Mars and Aries natives more effective, more motivated, much like a steamroller flattening out all obstacles in its way. Mars here definitely helps us Aries to focus on our projects and ambitions and initiate action. The one problem with it is haste, because we know that Aries can quickly run out of patience and seldom takes time to think before acting. So Mars in Aries is Mars on steroids, and it will rush even more into action. Especially as his comrade Mercury is also in Aries and has no time to stop and think either. So words will be rushing out of our mouths, straight to the point with no flourish. We will take decisions at the drop of a hat, and we will act on them instantly. And with the Sun in Aries for the first 3 weeks of the month, we are definitely taking center stage. All eyes are on us, and we are able to exert a lot more influence than usual, than at other times. All this flurry of activity is a sort of reaction to the existential spleen that was induced by Saturn and Neptune in Aries since February. So Aries has these 2 planets making themselves comfortable in this sign for the next 2 years for Saturn and the next like 12 years for Neptune. So while they both are in Aries, natives of this sign may feel that their will is weakened somehow, with Neptune dissolving focus and Saturn presenting them with steep mountains to climb. The good news is that these two are drifting apart, slowly but surely, and Saturn is putting more and more distance between itself and Neptune. So Neptune will progressively be felt more like inspiration rather than disillusionment, allowing Aries to dream of a better world and also to tackle Saturn on its own as a challenge instead of an insurmountable obstacle. In short, ever since February, Saturn and Neptune have insinuated a depressive streak in Aries, but right now in April, things are looking up. Okay, not only it's our birthday, but we have lots of energy, to stand up for ourselves, Aries, probably even too much of it. This will also counterbalance Chiron in this sign, still here for most of this year. It's like a badge of bravery, Chiron asks you to openly show your scars, confess your vulnerability. Well, the scars are the marks of a hero, and we know that Aries, deep down in his heart, is a fearless hero that, is going through the grand adventure of life. Venus is going from your 2nd to the 3rd house. So this means first, good financial tidings, a reward of some sort, or financial gain. Then in the 3rd, probably harmonious relationships with your siblings, neighbors, close environment, good news in general, and for the artistically inclined, maybe inspiration from the muses, You can start a writing project at this time. Jupiter is still in your 4th house till June, and is still protecting your home base and your family. You can draw comfort from and support from your family life. You feel like the guardian of family values, and you rejoice in having your clan around you. Your home up till June will probably see some major improvements. That will come at a cost for sure, because Jupiter is inviting us to big expenses, for big results. You will take pleasure in cooking and partaking of meals with your family as well, because it's in Cancer. Uranus is shifting from your second to the third at the end of the month. So while in the second, where it was for the last 7 years, it probably brought some unexpected sources of income, unexpected changes in your earnings. That must have kept you on guard with respect to money, because it was a bit, unpredictable. But now in Gemini, in your third, it will mostly occupy your mind, with lots of new information. Going back to school is a definite possibility. A sudden change in the situation of a sibling as well, or in the nature of your relationship to him or her. You will likely have to travel a lot as well, perhaps for your job, mostly short-distance travels, but still you will have to be quite mobile, and your mind will have to be very flexible, in order to adapt to this flow of information. As soon as it reaches Gemini, Uranus will form a sextile to Pluto, and this learning process will strongly enhance, actually, your personal power and enlarge your circle of influence, as Pluto is in your 11th of social life. Your friend circle will also be transformed, and you will get to meet new and interesting people, and perhaps they will be a bit out of the ordinary. The full moon is happening on the 2nd in your 7th house, and this draws your attention to your couple, your closest relationships. It is an emotionally charged moment, as we saw with Jupiter, with lots of good feelings and a thirst for more. You feel like you overcame an obstacle, like maybe a door has suddenly opened and emotions are overflowing. Perhaps you see a whole new future for this relationship. Then the new moon in your sign on the 17th is not an easy one. It is the difficult step into a new chapter that involves a lot of grit and honesty too. Events will definitely push your buttons. Take care of your physical health and don't strain yourself too hard. Okay, so now for the specific dates. For Aries. Okay. So, on the 8th, we have Mars sextiling Uranus. So this is a day of surprises. There will definitely be a change in schedule. So don't plan anything too tight for that day. You will feel quite energetic and you will welcome the surprises. Then on the 13th, Mars is conjuncting Neptune. And this day you will feel a bit more weak, and tired. Perhaps it is time to take a rest. You won't be as clear as usual on what you are supposed to do. Okay. Some nostalgia might also affect you. Okay. It's more a day to daydream than to act. Then on the 16th, Mars is sextiling Pluto. And okay, now you're back into your power. Okay, you are effective, you are strong, you are going for it. And you can exert quite a lot of influence around you. On the 19th and the 20th, these are the tricky days of the month, okay? And this especially concerns Aries because Mars is involved. Mars is going to conjunct Saturn first, then Mercury will conjunct Saturn, then Mercury will conjunct Mars as well, okay? So this is a triple conjunction concentrated in one day. And this speaks of lots of obstacles and frustration, okay? Be ready. So this won't take you by surprise. It will demand a lot of you, a lot of effort, a lot of perseverance, a lot of staying power. And your mind will be quite serious. You will attack this problem with a serious mindset and bent on finding a solution, okay? Which you will eventually. The key here is to stay calm, not get angry out of frustration, okay? Just persevere and you will make it. And this is it, more or less, for Aries. Now for Taurus. Taurus has its ruler Venus changing signs this month, on the 24th, that is, from Taurus to Gemini. So the first 3 weeks of April, Taurus is enjoying high popularity and high attractiveness. Taurus is already a Venusian sign, but with Venus there in this sign, this multiplies the opportunities for enjoyment and gratification. They will feel wrapped in the soft atmosphere of affection, cordiality, and congeniality. Your power of seduction actually will be quite noticeable now, and everyone will welcome and support you without asking much in return. Certainly, this is a time to take advantage of. The last week of the month, Venus will turn her blessings to your financial sector, and this will probably materialize a financial gain or a new source of income. Your mood is shifting accordingly to Venus, change in signs, that is going from the sensual and pragmatic and grounded Taurus to the volatile, restless and youthful Gemini. Okay, so the Sun spends most of the month in your 12th, and it is joined there by Mercury and Mars. So it's like, the preparation for the big leap. On the beginning of the month, this is still a social time of mingling, chatting, formulating projects, getting to know people, because Mars and Mercury are still in the 11th house. After this, at around 10 days into the month of April, it's time to meditate, hide a bit from the world perhaps, spend time in your mind and come up with an inspiration for the future, because Neptune is also there in the 12th. Your 12th is especially packed with the Aries stellium, meaning your own inner world will hold answers that are important to you at this time. You get the urge for action, as everyone does with all these planets in Aries. But as a true Taurus, you won't rush into action, unlike other people. You might have made up your mind as of the direction to take, but you keep it a secret for the time being, okay? You are basking in the warm rays of appreciation you get from people with Venus there, while unobtrusively setting the scene for your new beginning. Well, keeping your secrets bottled up is actually not doing your health a lot of good, and you will accumulate quite a lot of stress if you don't pay attention. This might manifest as illness, like the classic stomach pain or some nervous system symptoms, that might baffle doctors, perhaps with Neptune. So my advice is to vent at least part of your repressed anger and impatience, lest it takes its toll on you, okay? All those planets in Aries in the 12th house. Then the Sun is entering your first on the 20th, so you become all of a sudden more visible, you are standing out in some way, you feel also more empowered to decide about your life, less at the mercy of external influences, and also of your mood fluctuations. Now is your time to take things into your own hands, okay? And become a leader yourself, why not? Saturn and Chiron at the moment, still in Aries, are also residing in your 12th house. And this suggests there are some skeletons in the cupboard, perhaps. They need to be released. This time you have an opportunity to come to grips with long-standing psychological issues, perhaps, that might have prevented you from living your life to the fullest. Maybe they prevented you from playing the important part that Pluto wants you to play, because Pluto is in your 10th house and will be for a long time. And he is boosting your public image and pushing you to become some sort of public figure, some sort of role model for others. In order to do that, you have to scrutinize the workings of your own psyche, to see what in your personality can hold you back with Chiron there in the 12th. Okay. Jupiter in your 3rd house, in Cancer, is showering you with new information, but not only dry data, actually information that triggers an emotional response. Perhaps you take a cooking course or learn a new domestic skill with Jupiter in Cancer. Anyway, it's a great time to reconcile with your siblings or neighbors if there was a conflict, and also a great time to take short trips and just explore. Uranus, on the other hand, will finally move from your sign into Gemini on the 26th. For 7 long years, Uranus has been in your sign and has been probably wreaking havoc there in your life with a series of shocks, rebellions, changes that kept you on edge and unable to relax. You probably emerged like a butterfly from the chrysalid with a new image of yourself and a new outlook on life. Things right now with Uranus leaving Taurus should quiet down a bit from now on, and life will become a little bit more predictable for you, which for Taurus is certainly a good thing because you don't like the unexpected. But now the unexpected will come concerning your income. That might go through highs and lows for the next few years. Mostly highs, at least in the beginning, because Uranus is making this sextile to Pluto. Okay, it's a supportive aspect. The full moon on the 2nd in Libra is happening in your 6th house, and this is highlighting a health issue or possibly an issue related to how you organize yourself and your daily life. Wanting to do too much might be the problem now because of the square to Jupiter. Do take care of your body, as I said, and rest as much as possible to release the stress. The new moon on the 17th is occurring in your 12th house, and this is the start of a project that you are not yet ready to show the world. something that is cooking, you know, that you still keep under wraps, or possibly a health condition that needs to be addressed. It's also perhaps the disclosure of a secret that is making you embarrassed, because this new moon, as we know, is conjunct Chiron. So the current Aries overload certainly has a horror of secrets, you know, and goes about bluntly exposing them. So pay attention, you know, if you do have a secret, it will likely become exposed. Okay, now for the important dates for Taurus. On the 3rd, Venus is squaring Pluto. Okay, this is an important date, and probably also the 2nd of April, the day of the full moon. It's going to be a day full of you know, emotional intensity. You might be caught up in a drama somehow, or exposed to external pressure, okay, of some kind. Anyway, it's a day to live intensely. On the 6th, it's a very nice social day. You get to meet people, and especially, you know, friends, nice people you feel like spending a good time with. And Venus is also conjunct Ceres, and you might enjoy a very good relationship with your parents, for instance, or a very good meal, because Ceres also has to do with food. On the 13th, Venus is sextiling Jupiter. So this is a day of, you know, new enthusiasm, optimism. You know, life is smiling on you. There are so many things out there to discover and to enjoy. On the 24th, Venus is conjunct Uranus, and this might be quite a shock, perhaps a shock in your love life, perhaps a change in a pace of a relationship. Overall, the conjunction to Uranus is pushing you towards more independence. It may come as a release of ties, but it can also, you know, manifest as a sudden crush, depending if you are single or already in a relationship. On the 26th, Venus is sextiling Neptune, and this is a romantic day where you can feel some nostalgia and also feel pulled to become, you know, a poet and express what you feel to your beloved. On the 28th, Venus is trining Pluto, so this is a bit like a beginning of the month, but in a more in a softer tone. Okay, still a lot of emotions there, but more harmoniously integrated. And on the 30th, a social day with Venus square the nodes, okay, meeting up new people, reunions, and all in high spirits and with a laugh as well. Okay, Venus is also actually trining Juno on the 30th, so this is a very good day for committed relationships. You will feel in harmony with your significant other. Okay, now for Gemini. Gemini has its ruler Mercury going from Pisces to Aries, so from the 10th to the 11th. This happens on the 15th, so for the first half of the month, roughly, the focus is strongly on your career, with Mercury in the 10th, how to get ahead, how to leave your mark. So matters connected to your parents may also be at the forefront, because the 10th is also regarding parents. Then in the second half of the month, your social life gets suddenly animated, because Mercury is going into your 11th. You initiate contact, you meet new people, and communication is intensified. Maybe there is some catching up to do. Your mood is evolving from the soft, quiet, sentimental, and slightly out of focus Pisces to the matter-of-fact, action-oriented and combative Aries. 2 planets are visiting your sign this month. So Venus in the last week of April and Uranus at the end of April. And Uranus will actually be a permanent guest in your sign for the next 7 years. So first, Venus is leaving your 12th house and goes into your 1st house. In the 12th house, you are still hiding your light under a bushel. Perhaps you feel a bit shy and self-conscious. Perhaps you are not ready to come out of your shell. But the last week of the month, Venus is in Gemini, so this will help you shine brightly, okay? Life will become easier and more enjoyable. People will find you attractive and gather around you to, you will have many opportunities to have fun and relax. Also, if you plan to do a change in style or a new haircut, that will look great on you. The other visitor in your sign, Uranus, this is a heavyweight one. These last 7 years, Uranus was in Taurus, so it was sitting quietly in your 12th house, not doing much in worldly terms, but actually well, not much was happening, but except perhaps some hidden anxiety, that was quietly brewing. You probably couldn't even pinpoint a cause for it, except anticipation of the changes to come, because at some level you were aware that of the approach of this Uranus in your sign. Now it's coming to your sign. Expect 7 years of roller coaster. Uranus always brings unexpected shocks to the system that may seem random and project us on a new course. You yourself might feel rebellious all of a sudden and suddenly choose to leave a stagnant situation. Or sudden events may put you on a new trajectory. You might suddenly be offered a chance to relocate geographically, perhaps, and you will be glad to take it. Your image, represented by the ascendant, and this is especially true, of course, of a Gemini ascendant, might change drastically. As the first house is opposite the seventh, your relationships might go through ups and downs and might even break under the tension if they're not strong enough, to start with. Of course, all of this won't happen in the last week of April, when Uranus just gets into Gemini, so here we are talking about the big tendencies of the next 7 years. The sextile that Uranus makes to Pluto suggests that the transformations will only increase your personal power and influence, but till then Uranus and Venus are both entering together into Gemini, and this is suggesting a merry and exciting time at the end of April for you and for your love life in general. You start the month with Mercury and Mars in your 10th house. This is directing your energy towards your career and social status. The Sun is illuminating first your 11th, then your 12th house. So for the most part of the month, the first 3 weeks or so, you feel outgoing, sociable, preoccupied with your friends and their problems. You're also very much turned towards the future, because the 11th is also the house of planning for the future. And you are busy making projects. And so you should, because Uranus in your sign is preparing to open you up to new perspectives. Mars is also there from the 9th onward in your 10th. Sorry, in your 11th from the 9th. So energetic activities with friends would be ideal. Considering the problematic aspects of Mars, do try not to argue with your friends too much. Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron are all in your 11th as well. So some of your friends might go through some hardships and you are called in to help. It's also possible that some friendships and acquaintances will dissolve because of Neptune. You start to consider such relationships with a critical eye and actually choose to keep only those of your friends whom you can really count on. Your time and energy are not expendable and you have to choose wisely. For the last week of April, you retreat a bit from social life and start reflecting more on your goals and aspirations, so that in May, when at the start of the Gemini season, you'll be clear about where you are headed. This is the goal. Jupiter in your second is still providing you with a satisfying income, and you can be pleased with your financial situation overall. You might still acquire some valuable items that will increase your comfort, and overall you feel pretty pleased with yourself and trust in your abilities. The full moon is happening in your 5th house, and this is a particular event concerning your children, if you are a parent, or a romance if you are dating, or maybe a hobby of yours. Anyway, this event will stir a good deal of emotions and make your heart swell at the prospect of what's, the new opportunities that is announcing. The new moon in your 11th house on the 17th is the start of a new project, a quite demanding one with Saturn, or else the start of a new friendship that is grounded in empathy and total honesty with Chiron. Now for the important dates for Gemini. Okay, so we look at Mercury mainly. And we can see that on the 3rd we have Mercury trining Jupiter, so a great start of the month for Gemini, because you start off with lots of enthusiasm and confidence in the future. You are in the good mood and this is infectious, everyone around you will feel it. On the 14th, Mercury is sextiling Uranus, so this is some unexpected change. It's a welcome surprise. You are welcoming the new in your life, and it's a nice breakup from routine. On the 17th, Mercury is conjunct Neptune, and you feel a bit out of focus, a bit like drifting away with your thoughts, and a bit melancholy perhaps as well. On the 18th, Mercury is sextiling Juno, and this is a day to spend in harmony with your loved one, a day of commitment, a day also of serious and deep feelings because it's sextiling Pluto, and a day to be effective as well. On the 20th, the famous, triple conjunction of Mercury, Mars, and Saturn is happening on the 20th. And for you, this means you directly feel the constraints, okay, and the obstacles, because Mercury is conjunct Saturn. You have a very serious turn of mind, and you might talk a lot less than usual, okay, and nonetheless think a lot more. With Mercury conjunct Mars, you will feel compelled to act as well, act decisively, with no hesitation, okay, but as you will have given it a lot of thought, your actions will be effective. And on the 26th, Mercury is squaring Jupiter, and you are full of energy and impatient for, for new horizons. Go exploring, feel the freedom. Okay. Now, Cancer. Cancer can still enjoy the favors of Jupiter in, in his sign. In this sign, it's actually the king of the gods, Jupiter. So this is no small deal. And this position of Jupiter is held till the end of June. So for a whole year, Jupiter there bestowed protection and guidance upon Cancers. It accompanied them through the storms of the last months, and by storm, I'm thinking especially of the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, so that nothing would harm them. It may not have seemed that way while in the midst of the action, okay, in the midst of events, but in hindsight, you will understand that it was for the greater good. With Jupiter in their sign, Cancers can feel more generous, more outgoing, they will open up more, and we know this is such a sensitive sign that is prone to retreat in their shells at the slightest threat, You can enjoy a lucky streak that will put in front of you exactly what you need to advance in life. So Cancers can expect to spend another few months in this optimistic state of mind. Jupiter is there till the end of June, as I said. So they should grab every opportunity coming their way to travel, to expand their horizon, because Jupiter wants us to do this. With Jupiter, the major theme is growth, okay? And right now, no aspects from other heavy planets are impeding this growth from occurring. And I'm not only talking of material growth, of course. Good luck can accompany you in this respect as well, but it's more a matter of spiritual growth and understanding. The stellium in Aries, that is the major feature of April, is occurring in your 10th house of career and public image. So for the first week or two, Mercury and Mars in the 9th house will see you busy yourself with planning for holidays, perhaps, study, or actually traveling. Then the focus is shifting entirely towards the 10th house. So this house will receive the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron. Mercury being the last one to enter it. The Sun is shining on your sector of profession and career till the 20th and make you stand out among your peers. Your superiors may notice you and your achievements. With Mars there, you will devote a good deal of your energy to, and also time, of course, to build your career. If you have a project ongoing, Mars will speed up results. With Mercury in the second half of the month in your career house, you might sign a contract or obtain a new job or promotion even. At any rate, lots of talks with your superiors, lots of business meetings, lots of thinking about your future as well. Neptune and Chiron in your 10th house for a long time. They want you to find meaning in your profession. Your line of work needs to make a positive impact on other people's lives. It's not enough for it to be just a job, What you're looking for right now is a vocation. Saturn there might see you get a diploma or seal a choice of career by signing up for an important position, for instance. With all these Aries planets, you get proactive, you shift for yourself, and that provides results, of course. The 10th house, I must remind you, is also concerned with the parent, so most often is the mother. With Neptune, Chiron, and Saturn there, a parent might experience a difficult time in terms of health, perhaps, and be in need of your help. Mars there suggests maybe a medical intervention or some sort of an accident. If this is the case, it will demand quite a lot of your energy. Meanwhile, Venus is going from the 11th to the 12th house. So for the best part of the month, you are enjoying great relationships with friends and can socialize to your heart's content. Your social life is animated, you feel gregarious and meet new people. Friends may give you good news as well. And then in the last week of April, you will discreetly retreat a bit, from all the action. And you will feel like spending more time with yourself, with your thoughts. Reading may provide a pleasant pastime because Venus will be in Gemini. Also, a secret love affair may happen because Venus in the 12th house, of course, who knows. But then the Sun is taking over from Venus and ensures you remain present to your friends nonetheless. With Uranus in your 11th house for the last 7 years, your friend circle must have undergone quite a lot of shifts. And no doubt you got some shocking news from your friends every now and then. Now Uranus is moving on to your 12th house. For the next 7 years, you might find yourself worrying all of a sudden for no apparent reason. Some anxiety may creep in. And this is because Uranus in the house of your subconscious is quietly shifting perspectives, in order for a new you to emerge when Uranus will cross over into Cancer. You may not become aware of what is going on, but you do transform on an inner level, and this will translate into facts after 7 years. Till then, the tectonic shifts will concern your psyche, how you view yourself, and life in general. The full moon in your 4th house is a crisis of some kind, related to your home, parents, and family life. Perhaps you just moved or just redecorated your house. Perhaps a parent is going through a major change, and this opens up new possibilities for yourself. Anyway, it is an emotional and stimulating time. The new moon in your 10th house is a new professional chapter, a change of jobs, a promotion, an increase in responsibility that is both wanted and feared because of this conjunction to Chiron. And the situation of a parent might change due to illness, as I said. Okay, now for the important dates for Cancer. As we know, Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon makes loads of aspects throughout the month. That is also explaining why Cancer's mood is shifting so quickly. Okay, so let's see. First, for the hard aspects. Okay, so the moon is making hard aspects to Saturn and Neptune, bringing on a bit of sadness and low spirits on the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 21st, and the 28th. So these are days of a serious nature when you feel a bit, not crushed by work and responsibilities, but still quite burdened. Okay. Aspects to Jupiter then. Okay. Jupiter is a high-spirited planet that is full of enthusiasm and get up and go energy. Okay. And this supports you in your everyday life. So aspects to Jupiter occur on the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, the 4th, I forgot that, the 14th and the 22nd, and all of these days will be felt as enjoyable days when you will feel in high spirits and full of energy. Hard aspects to Uranus occur on the 5th, the 13th, the 19th, and the 26th. And all of these 4 days might bring unexpected surprises, and that can give a certain nervous tension to the day. Okay, be flexible. Hard aspects to Mars occur on the 8th and the 15th, and they probably will ask a lot of you. They will be quite tiring days, because quite intense days of action with Mars in Aries. Okay, but you will feel up to the task. And, hard aspects to Pluto are occurring on the 3rd, the 11th, the 18th, and the 24th. And these days you feel like you are a bit of a victim of outside forces, Other people decide for you. What can you do to stand up for yourself? This is all a bit, too much. You feel overwhelmed, okay? Luckily, there are also nice aspects to Venus that are happening, a lot more, actually, on the 3rd, on the 9th, on the 14th, on the 19th, on the 26th, and on the 28th. And all of these days are pleasurable days to enjoy, in the company of a loved one, of friends, spending a nice day of leisure, and also taking some rest. Okay, now on to Leo. Okay, Leo is ruled by the Sun, as we know. And the Sun is going from Aries to Taurus, so therefore from the 9th house to the 10th house. So for the first part of the month, the first 3 weeks, you are caught up in 9th house preoccupations, which are holidays, either actually traveling or planning to travel, studies, of course, any activity that can enrich your mind and expand your knowledge, perhaps spiritual experiences that can give you a new perspective on the world. Contacts abroad might be important. If you are in business, international exchanges are relevant at this time. Interactions with foreigners, people from other horizons and cultures can happen too. So in the last 10 days, the Sun is moving in your 10th house of career and public image. You will be focused on getting ahead in life and promoting your career. You will find it easy to attract the attention of your superiors and be recognized for your merits. It is a good time to put into practice any plans for your career and for your advancement, It is also a time when a parent might be going through a major phase of life change, perhaps. Your ruler, the Sun, also describes your mood. This is going from the martial, combative, and energetic Aries to the leisurely, grounded and calm Taurus. Okay. The Sun is actually following Venus, who will leave the 10th on the 24th of April. For a brief time, a 4-day interval from the 20th to the 24th, the presence of both in your 10th house ensures optimum chances for a promotion, for furthering a career project also. With Venus, your popularity reaches a peak and your achievements become public knowledge. You may attain a kind of fame and be widely viewed as a success story. In the last week of the month, with Venus in your 11th, you will have more free time to spend with your friends and socialize, perhaps celebrate the happy news on the job, that we were talking about before. April is also the last month that Uranus is spending in Taurus in your 10th house. That is till the 26th. Maybe with the extra nudge from the Sun and Venus, Uranus will produce one last, of its surprise turn of events, this time a favorable one. Because these last years, Uranus in your 10th probably put you on a whole new track by means of a series of twists and turns. And this is his last chance to do the same, once more. Afterwards, it will be moving into your 11th house, where it will considerably transform your social life, social circle, and introduce you to a whole new group of people, probably outside of your usual world up until now. But this is something to look forward to for the next few years, so we will discuss it later. In the first 10 days of April, Mercury and Mars in your 8th house keep you preoccupied with financial issues, paying back debts, taxes, insurance. There might be a difference of opinion between you and your partner with regard with what is shared, be it money or simply intimacy. Some bad news also in the 8th house might still reach you in the first half of the month. So for now, the stellium in Aries is putting the focus on your 9th house. Clearly, you are supposed to widen your horizon and also the spectrum of your knowledge. Nonetheless, the planets there are not making this task easy for you because, Neptune, for one, creates a deep longing for a spiritual vision that could integrate all of your experiences of life. But Neptune is by nature foggy, and confusing. And while it creates the motivation for a spiritual quest, it's still lacking clarity and focus. Saturn, on the other hand, is completely clear and grounded on what he wants to achieve. But Saturn implies effort, and above all, time. Saturn, as we know, it delays and constrains. So if you are studying right now, you might feel like things are advancing very slowly and painfully. Each new course, each new lesson is like a labor, Chiron there is quite self-conscious also about its limitations. You might feel complexed a bit that you have to put in all this work while others succeed, effortlessly, or so it seems. But the spiritual views that you held up until now might also feel like they are no longer valid with Chiron there. You might question your intellectual powers as well. But luckily, now Mercury and Mars, not to mention the Sun, are bursting into your 9th house with all the confidence and punch of Aries, and set things straight. Your intense efforts and concentration will save the day. You might be frustrated for having to devote so much energy to work and learning, but in the end it will all be worth it. And trust me, nobody absorbs knowledge out of thin air, like they sometimes seem to do. Jupiter in your 12th house is still acting as a guardian angel and is keeping you from harm, basically. Thanks to Jupiter, you might take the right decisions, keep your morale up, stay cheerful, and keep your calm as well. Even though Mars is in Aries and is hitting an obstacle with Saturn, and this might make everyone around you, irritable and feisty. The full moon in your 3rd house is an important event concerning perhaps a sibling who might reach a success with a square to Jupiter, or perhaps good news on a trip. And then the new moon in your 9th house is the beginning of a new chapter of study, the start of a new journey, or maybe a holiday, or exposure to a new philosophy of life. Okay, now for the important dates for Leos. On the 5th, we have the Sun squaring Jupiter, and this is a day of high enthusiasm. The sky is the limit, type of thinking. You feel like you can take on the world, okay? And watch out not to go overboard with it. On the 16th, the Sun is conjunct Chiron, and this is a bit of the opposite, because with Chiron we just discover our limitations, and probably you will have to admit that you are not Superman, okay, and you have to rest and take it easy for a while. On the 25th, the Sun is squaring Pluto, and this comes as a challenge from without. So it's a challenge to tackle a question that was, that you postponed for a long time, you procrastinated on, or a task that is especially unpalatable to you, okay? You should do it and you will do it, okay? You will have the power to do it. On the 27th, the Sun is squaring Juno, and this might come as a day of some conflict with your significant other, a conflict in a partnership. This need not be critical, okay? Just a matter of discordant opinions. Okay, now on to Virgo. Virgo's ruler, Mercury, is going from Pisces to Aries, so from the 7th house to your 8th house. So the first half of the month is solely devoted to your couple, your significant other, and thinking about ways to improve your relationships. The second half, the focus is shifting towards money issues regarding loans, credits, and debts, and important purchases as well. Your mood is also evolving, going from the soft, diffuse, imprecise, sensitive Pisces to the active, decisive, and no BS, Aries. Mercury is preceded in this by Mars, following the same pattern, more or less. So for the first 9 days of the month, Mars in your 7th might engender some discord in your couple. You might feel that your partner is taking up all the space or is bullying you with his or her demands. Then Mars in the 8th might provoke a conflict concerning a joint account, perhaps, or shared property, or a matter of an inheritance. An illness might also need a surgical intervention or a specific therapy. The Sun, meanwhile, is going from the 8th house to the 9th house. So for most of the month, the focus is on matters of money, money changing hands. So Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron are also there, together with Mercury and Mars, later in the month, as I said. So with Saturn, you want to stay away from debt as much as possible, and you will feel inclined to tighten the belt to avoid exceeding your budget at all costs. But some fixed expenses are unavoidable and might cause some worry. Saturn might also restrain your inflow of money, and or perhaps an expected inheritance might come up short of expectations. Your partner with whom you share part of your wealth may reduce his or her contribution. All of this is about, a decrease in a money source that is coming from somebody else. Neptune in your 8th is also at this time creating confusion over your financial situation. And Chiron will translate these worries into feelings of inadequacy, like you fear you cannot keep your grip on your budget or your finances. The demands of your partner might feel draining. Perhaps you are the one providing for both, and this is proving onerous for you. Or on the contrary, you may be the one who is dependent on your partner financially, and this is weighing on your spirits. With Mars and Mercury in Aries in your 8th, you will take probably drastic action and implement solutions. Okay, these are the good news. Of course, the 8th is an unpleasant house to deal with, but as we all know, life is also made of unpleasant things and even deeply unsettling experiences such as grief. So the trio composed by Saturn, Neptune and Chiron may actually represent grief, dealing with the passing of people or things out of one's life. And the coming of Mars there may trigger just such an event. Okay. Meanwhile, Venus is going from your 9th to your 10th. All is not worry and sadness, okay? There are also happy things, such as holidays. And Venus, for most of the month, is there to remind you to have fun. Why not in exotic settings while traveling? And if you study, you will brilliantly pass your exams. The last week of the month, Venus is in your 10th and will make sure that you get a deserved appreciation for your work. You will be noticed for your results by your superiors, will become quite popular and well regarded, and it is your time to shine in your profession. You will enjoy good relationships with your parents as well, and the parent might bring some good news. Jupiter in the 11th, it's a bit isolated there, but is nevertheless enlivening, your social life and letting you enjoy a broad circle of friends who have your back. Uranus, meanwhile, is going from Taurus to Gemini in this month. That is from your 9th house to the 10th. So prepare for a breathtaking ride career-wise these next 7 years. After that, it's very likely nothing will stay the same. Even if you are the conservative type that, who think that you will stay in your one job for the whole life, this transit will likely prove you wrong. Lots of surprise twists and turns await you. Of course, this can also manifest through your parents because the 10th is also representing a parent, your mother most often. So sudden events concerning your parents will feature. Uranus will shake up the foundations. So you'd better give some thought at what your ideal career would be and where you want to see yourself in 7 years. Don't be afraid to dream too big because with Uranus, nothing is impossible. Keep an open mind and think out of the box because Uranus loves the unconventional. Then the full moon in your second house on the 2nd of April as well is good news about a source of income, some money coming in or an important purchase. You might go a bit overboard with your spending with a square to Jupiter and probably hence the reaction with Saturn in the 8th, cutting out expenses after that. The new moon in your 8th house may be starting a therapy or undergoing a medical intervention or maybe performing an important financial transaction. The important dates for Virgo. Okay, so first on the 3rd, Mercury is trining Jupiter. So a day to enjoy because you will be in high spirits and in good humor and ready to enjoy life. On the 14th, Mercury is sextiling Uranus, so a welcome break in the routine, welcome news, just a bright idea that saves the day. Then on the 17th, Mercury is conjunct Neptune, and you feel more, more dreamy and a little bit out of focus. You might feel a bit tired and, would like to rest a bit from all this nervous tension. Then on the 18th, Mercury is sextiling Juno, and it's a day to establish good relationships with your partner, be it, personal or professional. Mercury is also sextiling Pluto at the same time, and this gives you, the influence, in order to convince people of your point of view. On the 20th, there is this tricky day of Mercury conjunct Saturn and Mars. Okay. So be warned in advance that things won't go smoothly. You will probably have to take some heavy decisions that will have an impact for the long term. And you will do it quite decisively. If you need to cut up ties, you will, no hesitation. If you need to tell people, give people a piece of your mind, you will also do it, okay? The trick here is not to set people against you by using too harsh words. On the 26th, Mercury is squaring Jupiter, and this is a day of expansion, of enthusiasm, maybe a bit of overspending, okay? But enjoy it, okay? They don't happen every week, such days. So now on to Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, as we know, and Venus is going from Taurus to Gemini, so from the 8th house to the 9th house. Venus in the 8th might provide some financial good news, like being exempt of taxes, for instance, or opening a credit, or benefiting from an inheritance, why not? Your partner might pour some money into a joint account. Venus being in Taurus, sensual pleasures might feature also at this time, but the focus is on shared property, shared intimacy with a partner. And at the end of the month, on the 24th, Venus is moving on to the 9th, where it gets busy planning for the holidays or making travel arrangements. It's leisure time. If you are a student, you will pass your exams with no particular worries. You might be put in contact with a spiritual community as well that will feel quite congenial to you. Or if you belong to a church already, there might be a festive event or celebration. This month, there are no planets in your sign. Actually, most of them are concentrated all the way over in your 7th house with the Aries stellium. Okay, 7 of them. To look at those planets one by one, we have the Sun in your 7th house till the 20th. And this really shines a light on your closest relationships for an in-depth scrutiny. You feel deeply involved in your couple if you are already in a relationship, or else this is the time you might commit to a serious relationship. All goes well in that respect this month, with Venus there, as we saw. But there are some threats to peace in the couple, with Mercury and Mars meeting Saturn in your 7th house. Mars in the 7th may offer an energetic day out with your partner, for instance, but may very well also stir up some conflict. With Mercury, it is all too easy to pick up a fight, while Saturn provides a reason for it, because you might feel discontented and look at your partner with a critical eye. You ask yourself, does this relationship pass muster? Only time will tell. With Neptune there too, a certain confusion might reign. You might feel that you cannot fully trust your partner, perhaps. Or alternatively, you feel that you have to save him or her from a particularly bad habit, perhaps. With Chiron there, the partner may be ill as well, or temporarily disadvantaged. He or she might go through a rough patch and be in need of your help. As I said, with Venus, you will be more than willing to help, but with Mars, your patience may quickly be running thin. Before going into your 7th, Mercury and Mars will occupy your 6th and energize your daily routine. Your schedule will be packed, in the first days of April especially. You will be kept constantly busy, but thankfully you will have the stamina for it because Mars is in Aries. Uranus is accompanying Venus this month, so it's going from Taurus to Gemini, so from your 8th to your 9th. For most of the month, Uranus will be in your 8th house, so we cannot rule out some unexpected sad news, speaking of a sudden loss, a person or a thing. Uranus has been there these last 7 years, so you probably had more than your share of financial troubles and the departure of people from your life. But Uranus is now finally moving on, and in Gemini in your 9th, it will provide you with exciting holidays and surprising opportunities for learning as well. Not necessarily formal education, but although you may decide on a whim to register for a course or a new diploma, but learning about yourself and your life philosophy through a wide variety of life experiences. Traveling abroad, for instance, will offer some extraordinary experiences. Romance might also blossom while traveling with a sextile from Uranus to Pluto in the 5th house. And especially with Venus there at the same time. Jupiter in your 10th, meanwhile, is single-handedly taking care of your career. No danger there, all should be well. Well, Jupiter is a bit isolated this month, but planets in your 7th will still make some nice aspects to it in turn, suggesting that your partner can support your career, or vice versa. You are in a position to support your partner thanks to your professional success. The full moon in your 1st house is directly affecting your appearance or health. It may be a culmination of a situation regarding your professional status that is directly affecting your partner, or vice versa. The new moon in your 7th is a new start regarding your partner, who might be in a position of temporary weakness with Chiron, or it might signal the commitment to a new relationship that asks you to overcome your reserves or to confront an embarrassing situation. also with Chiron. Okay, what about the important dates for Libra? So we have on the 3rd, Venus squaring Pluto, and this is the day of intense emotional, experiences, intense involvement in a relationship. You might also acquire something of value and spend quite a lot of money on it, obviously. On the 6th, Venus is sextiling the nodes, and this is a social day when you just feel good about yourself and about other people, and you are on the same wavelength, basically. Venus is also conjuncting Ceres, so on this date you might schedule a special dinner, or a meeting with your parents, because your relationship with your parents will go smoothly at this time. On the 13th, Venus is sextiling Jupiter, and this is the day of pleasant new experiences, leisure time, hobbies, going on a holiday, enjoying yourself, in short. On the 24th, Venus is conjunct Uranus, and this might bring quite some surprises and shocks, perhaps, especially to your love life. Actually, you might be tempted to gain more independence, or on the other hand, if you are still single, you might just discover you have a crush on somebody. On the 26th, Venus is sextiling Neptune, and it's a day of romance, of soft vibes, enjoying poetry, music, and dreaming the day away. On the 28th, Venus is trining Pluto, and this is again a day of deep emotional experiences, of deep feelings, of deep commitment, but this time, well balanced, okay, welcomed into your life. On the 30th, Venus is trining the nodes, so again, great experiences with people. Actually, no, it's not a trine, sorry, it's a square, but it's still a very social day, and this social day will bring some nice experiences of solidarity, friendship, and good feelings overall. Actually, the same day, Venus is trining Juno, and at this time, it's a good day to spend with your partner in harmony and good understanding. Okay, now on to Scorpio. What about Scorpio? Well, Scorpio has two rulers, okay? The traditional ruler, Mars, is going from Pisces to Aries, so from your 5th house to the 6th. The modern ruler, Pluto, is in Aquarius, in your 4th house. And given its very slow movement, it will be there for the next, 18 years. So this will provide more of a background for the other faster planets, to evolve on. We will concentrate on Mars. So for the first 9 days, Mars is in Pisces in your 5th. And this describes an enjoyable situation with some leisure time for hobbies, and also a focus on your children, if you're a parent, or on your love life, with a distinct romantic flavor attached to it in Pisces. For the rest of the month, the focus is shifting on to work and daily routine. You are flooded with things to do. Mars is in Aries. You have a full agenda and little time for anything else. You will be well inspired if you could insert an exercising routine, for instance, in your daily program. Now with Mars in Aries, you have lots of energy at your disposal, and you will feel like moving. Actually, with your ruler in Aries, you might show a lot of personal initiative and an increased efficiency at your workplace, for instance, because Mars in Aries is in your 6th house. On the other hand, the 6th house is also the house of domestic animals, and your pets might get a bit on your nerves these days, because Mars in Aries is not known for its patience, nor for its meek disposition. It is actually likely that you run into some conflicts at work as well, because Mars and Mercury in your 6th in Aries, probably over some unspoken competition. Mars in Aries is very competitive and needs to be seen as number one in all he does, this time in your daily work. The sun is also shining over your 6th house in the first 3 weeks of the month. You do feel deeply involved with your work, and your ego might well be attached to it. You will give it your all these days, and you will be quite effective at it. But unfortunately, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron are also in your 6th house for the long run. With Saturn, even though you give your best shot at work, you might secretly be fed up with it, with your job, and might long for a break. Work is a bit of a drag these days, and you don't feel like you are getting the recognition you deserve either for all of your efforts. Neptune is also putting like a damper on things and is taking your focus away from your tasks. You might often feel like phasing out and dream your day away instead of keeping your nose to the grind. With Chiron, finally, you might harbor some kind of inferiority complex or imposter syndrome, linked to not getting enough recognition at work or not feeling up to the task. These are all long-term issues that Mercury and Mars in Aries right now are helping to alleviate. The sixth house is also linked to health issues. And the Saturn-Neptune-Chiron trio there might exert some surreptitious negative effects, With Saturn, they probably take the shape of fatigue. You feel tired, you feel out of spirits, you feel overworked and pessimistic about future prospects. With Neptune, your immune defenses might be a bit low, and or else you might develop allergies, or some insidious symptoms that might baffle your doctor, that are basically your body crying out for some rest. With Chiron, this simply underscores the fact that you are not in the best physical shape at the moment, and you should take better care of yourself. Luckily, this Mars in Aries can get you back on track with training and adopting regular healthy habits. Another piece of good news is that with Venus in the 7th, up until the 24th of April, it feels like a honeymoon. All is well with your couple, you get along just fine with your partners, and be they sentimental or professional partners, you are quite well disposed towards them and very understanding. Afterward, in the last week of April, Venus in the 8th will bring some good financial news. Either your partner will bring in some money or you benefit from a discount of some kind. Jupiter in the 9th, meanwhile, is still offering opportunities to enjoy a holiday, and while it is in Cancer, in your 9th, you can give in to your call to long-distance travel. Discovering new exotic landscapes and cultures is the bonus at this time. This influence is also especially propitious for education, broadening your scope, thinking big thoughts, and understanding more about the world. Why not through travel? The full moon is happening in your 12th, and this won't make a big splash, but it might bring to light a health issue. The new moon afterwards in your 6th house is like a new chapter in your work that actually hits a sore spot. Perhaps you are shouldering more responsibility, and this might scare you a bit. Or there is a change in your team, and you are less than thrilled by it, whatever. Don't shoot the messenger. This new moon this month is a bit of a problem for everyone. Okay. Now for the important dates for Scorpio. Okay. First, if we look at Mars, the traditional ruler, we see that on the 8th, Mars is sextiling Uranus. So this is the welcome break in routine, welcome news, some surprises perhaps. Anyway, you feel energized by it. On the 13th, Mars is conjunct Neptune, and this translates as a day of low energy, a bit of daydreaming, escaping reality perhaps, a bit of nostalgia as well. On the 16th, quite the contrary, because Mars is sextiling Pluto, and you regain all of your energy and punch and are ready to go about changing things. On the 19th, Mars is conjunct Saturn, and on the 20th, Mercury is conjunct Mars. Okay, so these are the 2 tricky days of April I was talking about for all signs, not only you. So Mars conjunct Saturn is obstacles. Okay, it's really like hitting a brick wall. You are supposed to push through regardless. Okay, so you will have the energy to do it, but probably you will feel pretty much frustrated about it. And with Mercury conjunct Mars afterwards, you will voice your frustration as well. Just be careful and don't voice it too harshly. And okay, and if we look at Pluto now, on the 3rd, we have Venus squaring Pluto. So it's a day of enjoyable feelings, okay, leisure time, taking it easy a little bit. On the 16th, we were speaking about this Mars sextiling Pluto. On the 18th, Mercury is sextiling Pluto, and this is a day when you find just the words to convince people of your point of view. On the 20th, well, that very day I was speaking about, because of all this frustration and intense efforts, Pluto is conjuncting Juno. So this is a long-term transit. It's not only active on the 20th, but probably this day, well, this month, You will feel very much concerned with your committed relationships, with your couple. Some major underground shifts are happening there, okay, and you should pay attention. On the 25th, the Sun is squaring Pluto, and it's a day to illuminate your projects, to really be clear about your goals, and actually, you stepping into the limelight in some way. On the 28th, Venus is trining Neptune, so this is again, we end the month as we began it, with a day of nice, nice experiences, good feelings, feeling affectionate towards everyone. And everyone being affectionate towards you in return. Just a minute. I'll drink a little bit because my throat is all dry. Okay, now on to Sagittarius. Your ruler Jupiter is still in Cancer in your 8th house. This month you are still dealing with some deep and often unpleasant aspects of life, mostly regarding debt, being financially dependent, having to pay back what you owe, covering fixed expenses, or financially supporting your partner. Okay. Well, it is Jupiter that we are talking about, of course. So yes, your expenses and your debt might be large, but Jupiter is fundamentally helpful, and you will escape the worst. It is also a time that confronts you to losses, to farewells as well, that invite you to reflect on the passing of time and its consequences. Not a light-hearted time, but one that offers a profound insight into some of humanity's most basic fears. And for a philosopher like yourself, every opportunity for a deeper understanding is a bonus. Even such experiences. Since Jupiter entered Cancer, like 9 to 10 months ago, you feel more mellow. Your interests are more of a domestic kind, and you might feel more emotional than your usual devil-may-care attitude. Sorry. The inner planets, at the same time, are telling a different story. The Sun is going from Aries to Taurus, so from your 5th house to the 6th. For the first 3 weeks of the month, it's party time. You feel like having a good time and enjoying yourself. You might spend this time in the company of your children if you are a parent, or flirting left and right if you are dating. Now is the time to practice your hobbies as well, and maybe discover new ones. Mercury and Mars will be moving from your 4th to the 5th house, so for the first 10 days or so, you will be preoccupied with your living conditions, perhaps moving out, renting new accommodations, fixing things around the house, why not? And then it will all be about romance, kids, and general enjoyment. You might do very well in sports because Mars is in Aries, and maybe you will set a new personal record. You might become uncharacteristically bold when dating and finally ask that special somebody out. Your kids may cause a lot of mischief at this time with the same Mars in Aries, so now is the time to take a deep breath, calm down, and apply all of those, parenting advice you read about in magazines. Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron are also in your 5th. Parenting is quite a serious matter, and it can remind you of your own unhealed childhood wounds. Romance at this time is also taken quite seriously, and maybe triggers your fear of rejection. So yes, there are pitfalls, but the Aries stellium won't let you back down or give in. You are in this game to win, and you need to take chances to be a winner. Venus and Uranus are going hand in hand from your 6th to your 7th house. For the most part of the month, they will provide interest to your daily life, balanced work routine, with sufficient rest and enough breaks to escape boredom. But in the last week of April, they are both going, into your 7th to create a mini revolution there in your closest relationships. Uranus is a shock to the status quo. So if you are already in a committed relationship, Venus-Uranus together will be an attempt to experience freedom. On the contrary, if you are still single, their union might mean that you create a new and fresh, romantic relationship that promises to be quite out of the ordinary with Uranus. Venus in your 7th might bring many reasons to rejoice in the other's company, and Uranus there for the next 7 years will add in quite some turmoil and restlessness, but this is a matter to discuss in the videos to come. The full moon in your 11th house on the 2nd is good news from a friend or making new and profitable friendships. The new moon in your 5th house on the 17th can be an event concerning a child or the start of a new hobby, or actually the start of new romance. Now for the important dates for Sagittarius. On the 3rd, Mercury is trining Jupiter. So this is a day of good communication, good news coming in. Probably, actually, it will manifest already on the 2nd, the day of the full moon. Then on the 5th, we have the Sun squaring Jupiter. It's a day of enthusiasm, high spirits, being clear about what you want, and actually stepping a bit into the limelight yourself to express what you think. On the 13th, Venus is sextiling Jupiter, so it will be a nice romantic day to spend in good company and enjoy yourself by whatever means necessary. On the 26th, we have Mercury square Jupiter, so again, it's a day of intense communication, news going back and forth, and also perhaps travel. Okay, all in all, a very good month with very little bad aspects to deplore. Capricorn. Its ruler Saturn, it's in Aries, so since February actually, in your 4th house. This is a long-term transit, of course, so the focus for the next 2 years or so will be on your home and family. It is a sort of transition time for you, actually, when you are both laying down roots and taking a fresh start. This is especially true if you have a Capricorn ascendant. In Aries, your ruler adds in a note of energy and initiative, and we know Capricorn is a cardinal sign that is quite able to launch a new project. But at this time, Capricorn will be particularly emboldened to action. And this is because it will be in good company. The Sun is in Aries till the 20th, highlighting preoccupations around the home and home improvements. The focus might also be on your parents, a specific event concerning them perhaps. Mercury and Mars are entering Aries as well on the 9th and the 15th respectively. And this is an overdose of the petulant and feisty energy, all directed towards the house of your roots, home and living conditions. Perhaps you are renovating your house, moving, or otherwise redecorating. I hope you are, because the alternative might be a proper quarrel within the family, with so much energy lying around. And a good use of it would be to start a project involving the family, like a sports competition, why not? Or going on a long-distance trip together, or starting a family business. Anything that would require, spending a lot of energy and showing a lot of initiative and independent thinking. Neptune is in your 4th house as well, and will be for a very long time. You probably idealize your parents and childhood home beyond all common measure. And you probably long to return to those golden days. In the current situation, especially with Saturn conjunct Neptune in your 4th house, watch out for damage to your house that might occur, particularly water damage. The 4th also represents parents, of course, and with Neptune and Chiron there, a parent might show signs of ill health and might be in need of your help. Your living arrangements might not be ideal. You might be unhappy with your house, or perhaps you and your parents are still living under the same roof and this is problematic to you. Anyway, for your sign, the whole Aries stellium is exerting its effects, positive and negative, in this sector of your life. Luckily, not every planet is to be found in Aries. Venus is going from Taurus to Gemini, so from your 5th house to your 6th. For the most part of the month, you will enjoy spare time, lovely spare time, practicing your favorite hobbies, amusing yourself together with your kids, and delighting in the sparks of new romance. This agreeable, sensual time will shift towards less leisure and more work, but even then your daily routine will be pleasant enough with Venus there, with lots of matters of interest, to keep your mind occupied. Uranus is moving in sync with Venus this month, from Taurus to Gemini. The two actually meet by conjunction on the threshold to Gemini. Uranus offered you 7 exciting years in your 5th house. You probably discovered new and unusual hobbies. Your children might have manifested some unusual talents and capacities. And your love life was probably at the time a bit hectic and inconsistent, with unexpected highs and lows. Now Uranus is moving to your 6th house. You will probably witness a lot of change in your work, at your workplace, or in the type of work you perform. Get ready for a full schedule with much less spare time, and a more erratic agenda. This, of course, will unfold over the course of the next 7 years that Uranus will be in Gemini, so we will have time to discuss it further. Jupiter in your 7th house is protecting your closest relationships, if you are in a couple. If still single, you will be well advised to take advantage of this time of Jupiter's last months in Cancer to engage in a partnership, because a relationship that starts at this time is bound to be beneficial and probably free of conflict as well. The full moon in your 10th house is a culmination in your career, possibly a promotion or a new job offer that suddenly expands your spectrum of choices. Then the new moon in your 4th house on the 17th is a new beginning at home. Family members may leave the home and or move in, actually. You yourself might consider moving out of the home, or the situation of a parent is about to change. At any rate, this new beginning is not without raising some difficult problems, because this new moon is conjunct Chiron, as we saw. Don't rush to solve them. Impetuous action right now with all these planets in Aries will soon run into serious obstacles. Now for the important dates for Capricorn. Okay. Actually, we have only 1 or 2 significant dates in this month that concern Saturn, and these are the 19th and the 20th, okay? These really are the tricky days of the months, as I said, to each and every sign. On the 19th, Mars is conjunct Saturn, and you will feel fully energized, okay, ready to go, all pumped up, you know. But unfortunately, this combination is not a very productive one. It can be extremely tiring. You exhaust yourself by trying to do things to make progress, you know, and progress is not forthcoming, at least not right at this time. You should persevere by all means. You will be energetic enough to do it with Mars in Aries, but the results will be seen later on. On the 20th, Mercury is conjunct Saturn, and this is more of a day of intensive thought, okay, learning new things, why not, expressing yourself, setting up plans, and again, with Mercury conjunct Saturn, these plans will be delayed somewhat, okay, so it won't be a decision that you will act upon immediately. Okay, now on to Aquarius. Aquarius has also 2 rulers. So one is the traditional one, which is Saturn, that is in Aries, and the modern one, which is Uranus, that is going from Taurus to Gemini. So, according to the traditional ruler Saturn, that is in your 3rd house, your focus is on learning, exchanging with your immediate environment, siblings, close friends, neighbors. There is also a feeling of urgency to it. You are the one taking the initiative of communication, you know, in these exchanges, and mobilizing everyone. You should be aware of that your tone and choice of words may seem sometimes harsh, because in Aries, you like to go straight to the point, of course, and fast. But this can be interpreted as cutting, you know, or dismissive. So you'd better be aware that not everyone is living at the same, you know, rhythm as you. And for those who keep a more sedated pace, you can come across as bullying, you know, or cold. Anyway, with your ruler in Aries in the 3rd, your mind certainly is extremely active and inquisitive and animated. This is more or less in agreement with the situation of your other ruler, Uranus, because right now, and for the last 7 years, it was in Taurus in your 4th. The situation at home caught all of your attention. Perhaps there were some major changes in your home and family. The situation of your parents must have changed too. Perhaps you changed address several times. In Taurus, these changes must have taught you the value of taking good care of yourself, of your body. You know, food, massage, gym, choice of clothing, all that is designed to support you to be able to navigate this instability. But this month, Uranus is leaving Taurus for Gemini. So your overall style and preoccupations will also shift from the material to the purely intellectual. And this actually suits you because Aquarius is an air sign. Perhaps in Taurus, you felt everything was a bit slow moving. Gemini is much more lively and all up in his mind, of course, and your primary experience in this sign will be about information and learning. Much like what I said before when discussing Saturn, your ruler. It's like a new world is opening up for you, for your eager mind to explore. Here you can give the full measure of intellectual capacities and gather as much different bits of knowledge as you possibly can. It's not yet time for a synthesis, you know. It's like picking flowers on a field. You select those that catch your eye for the time being. Uranus is moving into your 5th, so for the next 7 years you will be all caught up in matters of creativity and self-expression. You will feel a bit like being on a stage and you will be having fun with it. Now is the time to show your true self with all your quirks. You will probably have more than one means of expression because this is Gemini, and Gemini is a, dual sign. It's all a kind of a game and you are ready to play it in the 5th house. Depending on the stage in life you are at, you may either start dating or perhaps become a parent. Either way, the road ahead won't be smooth and surprises will await you at every turn with Uranus. This is always the way, with Uranus, and you know it is your ruler. So, but of course, this is a matter to be discussed over the next few years while Uranus will be in Gemini. The Aries planets this month are all populating your 3rd house. So, an animated month with lots of trips, lots of talks and learning opportunities. You may very well start a writing project. Anyway, communication will feature strongly. Venus is going from Taurus to Gemini as well, so you would likely spend the first part of April in comfortable conditions, in a harmonious atmosphere with your family, and then Venus will warm up your 5th house with lovely opportunities for having fun, enjoying time with your kids, or spicing up your love life. Jupiter, still in your 6th house, is meanwhile taking care that you have a healthy routine and don't overwork yourself. Sure, your schedule is full with Jupiter, but ultimately you enjoy it. The full moon in your 9th house may bring an opportunity abroad, a travel, an international contract, or the culmination of an educational course or training, like registering to go to a high school or college or getting a diploma. Then the new moon in your 3rd house may be an embarrassing or delicate situation with a sibling, a worrying message, or if you are of school age, some trouble at school, perhaps with Chiron. Okay. Now the important dates for Aquarius. Okay. Looking at Saturn, as I said before, we have these 2 days, the 19th and the 20th, that are the trickiest days of the month, where Saturn is met by Mars and then by Mercury. So in turn, you first feel energized, ready to get into the action and do your utmost. And then on the 20th with Mercury, ready to communicate, to exchange, full of new ideas. But all of this meets Saturn after all, and that means some delays, some obstacles, some blockages. So you will have to wait, for the results to be seen. On the other hand, as far as Uranus is concerned, so on the 8th, Mars is sextiling Uranus. This is a day also of being energized and sportsy, spending your energy in a constructive way. On the 14th, Mercury is sextiling Uranus, and this is a day of good news. Good communication, also moving a lot. Okay, so short trips, short travels. On the 24th, Venus is conjunct Uranus. So, at last, like breathing a little bit, enjoying yourself, taking some leisure time, and also, why not, romance, perhaps the ignition, the spark of the first romance. Pisces now. Pisces also has 2 rulers, of course. So the traditional ruler is Jupiter and is in Cancer in your 5th house. The modern one, which is Neptune, is in Aries in your 2nd house. So let's see. Going by the traditional ruler, your focus is on self-expression and creativity, and has been for the last almost 1 year. Jupiter, can be quite exuberant, and you may feel that you have something valuable to say through artistic or creative means. Creativity is not only about arts, of course. One can get creative with about anything and everything in life. The 5th is also about children, and who are arguably our best creation. And with Jupiter, there is a sense of deep satisfaction and accomplishment you draw from your children and the time you spend with them. Being a parent is really fulfilling to you. Even if you are not a parent yourself, you benefit from being with children and contributing to their education. Jupiter has this high moral streak and is a natural born teacher. Of course, the 5th is also known for romance. In the 5th, we meet a significant other and we discover the first flutterings of love. And with Jupiter there, you could possibly start dating and fall in love as well. This is a house of many facets, all of them actually pleasant. The modern ruler is in Aries in your 2nd house. It just came out of your 1st house in February. So for quite some time, your focus has been on reinventing yourself through creative self-expression, if we combine the meaning of the two rulers together. Now you have a good idea where you are going, what role you composed for yourself. And now you are more preoccupied with proving your value and also deriving an income from your talents. Neptune is not very sure of itself by nature, and in the house of self-esteem, you might not be fully conscious of your own value. Income might also be a bit fluctuating. Nonetheless, in Aries, you are all for making an effort and go after the desired increase in earnings, okay? And you have the energy to do it. All the Aries planets this month, as I said, are supporting your efforts. The Sun is in Aries for the first 3 weeks and is illuminating this area of your life. It is joined later by Mars and Mercury, both in Aries in the 2nd half of the month, and you will feel like you are finally making some progress. There will be concrete news about a source of income or a sum of money earned. You will receive some tangible recognition of your merits. And this is welcome because it encourages you to strive for long-term results with Saturn there too. Saturn can restrict for sure. It can delay also. But it inspires also tenacity and perseverance that never fail to produce results in the long run. So what I'm saying is you can make real progress in your ability to earn money this month. It won't make you rich all of a sudden, but it will rather keep you on track for the long haul. Venus is moving from your 3rd to the 4th house, so the first 3 weeks are spent in interesting exchanges with your siblings and close environment, probably moving around a lot and keeping busy, small trips. You might also learn new things, school will go well if you are that age. Perhaps there are some talks going on, signing of a contract. And then in your 4th house, Venus will improve your home environment. Perhaps there will be a celebration in the family. Your relationship to your parents will be particularly warm and affectionate at this time. Uranus is going the same way as Venus, but at its own much slower pace. In your 3rd house, actually, since the last 7 years, Uranus must have stimulated your mind a lot. Perhaps you excelled in your studies, or you became a master communicator or salesperson. You were certainly eager to learn as much as you possibly could on many different subjects. Now in Gemini, Uranus continues in the same theme of learning, but it's bringing its electric, rebellious energy into the realm of your house and family. So expect the unexpected at home. It would be a good idea to set some money aside for repair and renovation just in case, or if you need to move at short notice, for instance, because it is likely that you will move in the next 7 years. Unexpected events may affect your parents too. Family life won't be the same at the end of the 7 years. But of course, we will talk about it at length in further videos. The full moon in your 8th house is an unexpected bounty coming from others, perhaps an inheritance, perhaps a tax cut, anyway, a financial major operation that will turn in your favor. The new moon in your 2nd house is a new situation also regarding money, your income, but one that brings up a difficult issue. Perhaps you get a raise, but the new responsibility is frightening you. Or perhaps money is coming in, but you are not sure what is expected from you in return. Anyway, an aspect of your financial situation is embarrassing you right now with Chiron. Now for the important dates for Pisces. Okay, so if we are looking at the traditional ruler, Jupiter, we see that on the 3rd we have Mercury trining Jupiter. So it's a day of intense communication, lots of exchanges, happy new ideas and projects, okay. And then we go on the 5th to the Sun squaring Jupiter, and this means you are ready to be seen. You are ready to put yourself out there and express your goals and ambitions, okay. A day to go for it. Then on the 13th, Venus is sextiling Jupiter, and this is a day of affectionate feelings, feeling warm towards everyone and receiving the same in return. So quite a nice romantic day. Any other aspects to Jupiter? No, not this month. So let's look at the modern ruler, Neptune. Okay. So on the 13th, we have Mars conjunct Neptune. And this is a day to be energetic, actually, because Mars is activating Neptune, even though the combination of the two doesn't suggest great results immediately. Okay. But anyway, you will feel more, more outgoing and more, able to take initiative with Mars in Aries. Also, on the 17th, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune. And this is again a day to communicate better, actually, to communicate your dreams, your thoughts, your inspiration, and maybe translate this inspiration into a tangible work. The muses are inspiring you at the moment. And finally, on the 26th, we have Venus sextiling Neptune, and again, a day of affectionate feeling, tenderness, a day to spend in harmony with others. Okay, so in this very happy note and romantic note, I actually am finishing this video. I am looking forward to see you to the next video, speaking about the full moon on the 2nd of April and what to expect afterwards for the next 2 weeks to come. Okay, we will look in detail at the transits for every single day, and we will see how these 2 weeks will unfold for you. Okay, till then, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and do leave a comment if you have something to say. I'm looking forward to hear what you have to tell me. Okay, so till then, be safe. Bye-bye.